Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to go over my power rankings in addition to what my Discord has as the power rankings. And you're going to notice that this is done differently than I've done it in the past. I'm trying to change up how I want to approach the power rankings. But, based on reception, and we'll determine if I go back to the old format or not. So this is 100% based off of stats, these power rankings. What does that mean? Well, one, very schedule dependent. Because the fact of the matter is, some of these teams, LTA in particular, have only played one matchup. So, that's going to scuff the hell out of the stats. 100% agree. Now, when we look at the entirety of the season, though, I believe that there is something to be said about seeing who the best team is as the season goes along, and I think it's something to follow. I'm going to try and do one of these power ranking videos roughly the week after a patch has changed. Given that 15-1 went to 15-2 last week, I ended up going and doing this video. Now, the Discord I still have doing a top 25. Now, part of my power rankings, I wanted to separate major and minor. If you followed along at the beginning of this season, I said, and I kind of, shed some light on the fact that I felt there were two major regions and three minor regions now, with LCK, LPL, and then LEC, LTA, and LCP being the other three minor regions. Now, the stats I used to determine these rankings were win rate, kill-death ratio, kill-death difference, tower difference, gold difference per minute, first blood, first turret, first feat of strength, or whatever, feat of strength, I guess, Drake percentage, void grubs, herald percentage, and baron percentage. So we have 9 different stats I believe I have here. 10? Even more than that. Shit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 stats. So we're really running the gambit here. Now, I think it kind of checked out in the top. Hell, we look at majors, BLG and Gen.G are at the top. And that's not a shock at all, because the fact of the matter is, many would consider those two teams to be towards the top. I think only 1 of 10 voters actually legitimately had one of them not in the top 2. There were 12 voters, but one only did 15 teams, and another one, I think, trolled. So we only counted 10 for the Discord. But BLG, Gen.G, NIP, Weibo, those all have been very good teams to start the season. NIP added Doomby, and that changed a lot. Fearless is going to be something that he is going to excel at because of his champion pool. Anyone's Legend, we expect them to be there. Thunder Talk, though, big surprise, starting the season strong. That bot lane duo is a big difference maker. 1xN and Feather have, clearly regained the chemistry they had with JDG Academy, or Joy Dream, or whatever the hell their LDL team was called a couple years ago. T1. Now, T1 would still be up here regardless of everything, in my opinion, in part due to the fact that they have admitted that they're scrimming essentially by benching Guma for Smash. I give Koma a lot of credit for that, to say the big ball move of I'm just trying things out, when it's kind of like the open secret, in my opinion, that Fearless really is irrelevant. So that was interesting, and hell, I almost want to move T1 up because of it, because hell, they're approaching this like it doesn't matter, and in my opinion, it only matters so much. JDG, LGD starting the season very strong. Sassy in top lane is like playing some of the best League of Legends out of any top laner in the world. Very statistically sound. D+. Hell, they beat HLE. You got Bro. Bro beat Gen.G 2-0. And they're going back and forth between 80 carries. They don't know who to play. Do I expect Bro to stay up there? No. Do I expect LGD to stay up here? No. But to start the season, they've done very well. HLE, struggling a bit, right? Today they won, but struggling. IG struggled off the rip. To NIP. Nongshim, middle of the road. KT, you'd like them to be a little bit better. RNG, better than expected. 16 out of 26. Some consider them to be the worst team that the LPL is going to have. DRX, Top Esports, So DRX running Lazy Field for a while, who was one of the lowest damage 80 carries in the LCK. Well, he was the lowest. Very bright future, but Teddy comes back into the lineup, and sure, he struggles against Viper and Delight, but what are our expectations against Viper and Delight if Lazy Field's in there? I don't think it makes a difference. DRX is run over by HLE either way. Top Esports. Obviously, that team's better than 18th, but statistically struggling. Playing into anyone's legend did not help. Who is a team that you would consider to be also in the conversation as a world's contender? FearX, expect them there. OMG's better than expected. FPX, a bunch of rookies. DNF bringing up the rear in the LCK. Now, I don't think many people thought that was going to happen. EDG thought they'd be better, but start the season they're struggling. And then we have Team We, LNG, similar to EDG. We thought they'd be better. Zika's much better than where he is. Photic as well, although Photic to some may be bottom half. I don't think he's one of the worst LPL 80 carries. And then Ultra Prime in last. Minor regions. So Red Canids ends up first because they got the easy matchup against Fluxo and crushed them. Are they the best minor region team? Are they better than every LTA, LEC, LCP team? Absolutely not. There's a conversation to be had that they're not even in the top 8 or so of those three regions. And we had 34 teams here, but they've had one series, and it's going to scuff the stats. But as we look at the season, over an extended period of time, I think these stats will work themselves out as the samples get bigger. TL, FlyQuest, C9, then Koi, and Talon. So, the LEC Koi has been pretty strong, and I would consider them to be probably better than C9 and in the conversation with TL and FlyQuest. Talon, of course, are up there as well. You look at that roster and it's very competitive. Pain, 7th. I wouldn't say that's outlandish. They played loud. That's a much harder matchup than Red had. And Pain showed that they were competitive at Worlds last year, and they're running the same team back. 100 Thieves starting the season strong. CFO, we expect them to be here. Beat Gam, that was impactful. Leviton, Cody, and Snaker showing up in a big way in their one. No, Cody and Seo showing up in a big way in their one series. Team Secret Wilds playing better than I expected with a rookie roster as the season goes along. That team should get better. KC 12th, and it would shock some people because if you look at League on Lock, KC are a top 10 team. Clearly, that is baiting for views and impressions. There is no fucking way. There's just no way. And if not, something has went terribly wrong with the determining process for your power rankings if that ended up truly being the case. If you went through your steps and your procedures and your processes and you came up with that, then there is something wrong along the way. Top 10 outright. Holy shit. Vikings Esports. Shogun's playing solid League of Legends. His stats speak for themselves. Guri and Kratos also this past week were some of the best in the region. Fnatic, a solid team. Kind of going to be what you get, though. I don't expect much growth. It is what it is. Faria, statistically very strong. Much better than people would have expected after they lost. No, they might have won. I'm trying to remember. A lot of teams on the board. I think they did lose. G2 and BDS. G2 are struggling. BDS 113. Statistically looks good, but on the Rift, it's not really following through in that regard. Vitality, Giant X. So a bunch of LEC teams after each other here because statistically they're very close. Honestly, the LEC has started the season very competitive. Very competitive. And they're doing best of ones. The only region that is doing best of ones. Isurus, Astral, I expect that team to be better for sure. Gam Esports, I expect them to be better, though Ares has played very terrible. Statistically, very inefficient. One of the most inefficient mids in the world. That needs to change. Otherwise, I don't think Gam... Levi should have retired. He should have. Not because of him, but because of what could happen if Ares doesn't figure it out. Rogue. gatekeep team. I mean, poor man's Fnatic. Disguised. I mean, Castle played really good. There was no doubt about that. Vivo Keat Stars. Kissei played pretty bad. Mortius played solid, but Kissei didn't think he would play as bad as he did. DFM, mixed bag. Aria finally turning it around, but it's hard to overcome the stats from the beginning of the season. SK Rahel leaving a lot to be desired. Heretics, a bunch of rookies. They need to get better over the season. Chief Esports Club, very limited. One of the worst teams, I think, in the world. Loud played Pain. They're better than where they are, but we'll see as the season goes along here. SoftBank Hawks Gaming. Fate is not playing as well as I thought he would. Lion Gaming. Give them a little bit more time. Saint played good. Just it's going to take a little bit more time. Dignitas. I mean, hell, they're running Lyra in the jungle. I have to go back through my Hall of Fame stuff and put Lyra back into the player pool because he played a series. Shopify Rebellion, also using a substitute, and then Flux. So, I mean, we expect them to be one of the worst teams this season. Now, the Discord, we had 10 voters, and, I mean, honestly, it's pretty solid. We have some people with FlyQuest up near the top 5 or so. I would say they're around 10th. Just personally, I mean, if they played a best of 5 right now, although Inspired and Bwippo, I think, are very strong in a fearless setting, I do wonder if the open secret of how many of these teams are approaching this half-ass or not. And that kind of factors into things for me. Big patch coming up as well for 15.3. That's not supposed to matter in a video like this, but it is going to be a game changer. I think there are a lot of champions listed. Let's just put it that way. But BLG, Genji, Anyone's Legend, D+, HLE, Top Esports, T1, FlyQuest, Weibo, NIP, top 10. I would say they're top. I would say I'd agree. JDG probably up there maybe in place of Fly. Very possible to say that. For sure. Fnatic, IG, Talon, and then Koi. So those 15 teams, all 10 voters, had them in their top 25s. And then next we have those that were on every ballot but one. Team Liquid, Carmine Corp, Thunder Talk, Cloud9. Then we have CFO and Giant X on 8 of 10 ballots. 7 ballots, KT, G2, Vikings Esports, and then 5 ballots, DRX. So, I mean, I think it makes sense for sure. Trying to incorporate the Discord still in it because honestly, I mean, this is also to those that are on the Discord and those that participated. Kind of changed the way I wanted to do this at the last minute yesterday. I said, you know what, I want to see what I could do a little differently than I'd done in the past and try and go back more towards the stats of things, which, everyone wants to have their opinion validated. So we have an opinion part, the community, if you will. So I don't like saying my community. It just seems really pretentious. I think that's how I would describe that. So just the community on our Discord, this is what they have. So yeah, so comment down below on how you feel about this format. I think that over the season it will hash itself out. You just have to understand that early on it's going to be rough in some ways. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.